Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Chanel Rowe TV. So I just wanted to make a quick video. I know that a lot of people in the community that we're a part of experience very similar treatment and very similar situations that I experienced. So when you're God's pick, right? When you're God's elect, when you're God's chosen, when you are a peculiar people, like it says in the Bible, you're often going to be misunderstood. And the reason you're going to be misunderstood is because you don't walk like the world does. You don't walk with the ways of the world. Another thing that you do is that you have a different set of eyes. So one thing that I can tell you that I experienced is that I've never wanted to do what everybody else wanted to do. Like everybody else wanted to just come into the planet, get a regular job, and go party on the weekend, have a boyfriend, get married, and get married, and that's it, and they're done. And that's their life. You know, just get a regular corporate job. And listen, right now, obviously, like corporate job, you know, obviously we need to financially get ourselves together. And that's really important. I believe that, you know, we, right now, it's about working and working towards your purpose, you know. So there's certain things that we need, obviously, which I understand that now, you know, while you're working towards your purpose. But a lot of chosen ones and a lot of God's people, what happens with them is that they just have a different lens. As soon as they pop out of the womb and they're able to form a thought, they're able to think for themselves. They're different. So you guys have probably been, from very, very young, from the moment that you were born, you've been very watched closely. And what I mean by watch closely is that people knew you were different from the moment that you came out of the womb. Like from the moment that you were really, really young. And remember, this is a spiritual thing. When God chooses you and God selects you and God sets you apart for himself, in the spirit realm, spirit recognize spirit. And since we are all spirits walking around in flesh, um the spirits in other people could recognize your light, and they could recognize your peculiarness, they could recognize your eccentricness. So that eccentricity about you, that difference, that spirit that you carry, that is not like worldly people, because you have substance. You actually carry a weight inside of your spirit. It's not like a heavy weight, like a bad thing, but there's this heaviness, like this heaviness. It's the rank that you carry in the spirit, that it's so large. Your spirit is so much bigger than you, that it literally extends outside of yourself. And don't think about this in a new age way. Think about this in like a spiritual, godly way. Your spirit literally comes out of you. You radiate it. If you were able to see yourself in the spirit, you would be a beam of light. You're radiating pure light because you have sanctified yourself. You've walked in the light since the day that you were born. And have you made mistakes and have you fallen before? Yes, you have, just like we all have. We're not perfect, you know. There was days and moments in our life when we didn't know the Lord, when we didn't know about God, and we were probably walking in sinful ways, and we were probably walking in ways that were separate from God. And we were doing things that we shouldn't have done, that were separating us from his spirit. But as soon as you recognized the light and you recognized who God was in your life and you decided to walk with him, you started beaming pure light as God's child. And so remember that the light that you carry, it's so extreme. Remember that if you were able to see into the spirit, you would see light coming out of you. And the people who carry dark spirits, the people who are spiritually possessed by darkness, who are walking by the flesh and not by the spirit, you would see pure darkness in the spirit. So darkness is attracted to light, just like a moth is attracted to a flame. You probably also have experienced a lot of dark people, a lot of demonic activity, a lot of demons, people who are demonic trying to get close to you, trying to sabotage you, trying to stop you, trying to slow you down. You've probably experienced that as well. And that feeling of having to deal with so much dark people and so much chaos, you probably attract a lot of chaos in your life. You probably attract a lot of tribulations, and it's not because of you. It's because the devil sees who you are. The devil knows who you are by name. You're on the devil's list because you're God's child. And he doesn't want, it's always because he doesn't want God's child to win in this life, because you winning means one more for the kingdom. It means represented by the Most High. How did you get to where you got to? Oh, I didn't get here because I had to sign a deal or I had to follow the devil's ways. No, I got here because I followed God's ways. I followed God. I walked with God. So when they ask you when you get that trophy at the end of this life, right? When you get that trophy, the crown of life, and they ask who got you here, who's your representative, who's your agent, who's your agency? The Most High. And that's what the devil doesn't want. So that's why the devil has a target on your back, because you represent the Most High God. And you're chosen, you're set apart, you're elected. You are elected, just like a presidential elected. You were elected by God to represent him on this earth, to make an impact, to do something great in this life. So since you were chosen to do something great in this life, you're also going to go through great tribulations and great trials. But fear not, because God is going to be with you during this entire time. Through the misunderstandings, through people misjudging you, through people treating you like, you probably are not going to even be treated like you're part of God's army, because people know, they already see who you are. They know who you are. They know that you carry a purpose. They know that you carry an anointing. The anointing oil is heavy on you, and they know it and they see it. And because they know it and they see it, they're not going to tell you. And they're going to treat you below what you deserve to be treated. Do you think Jesus was treated as the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, creator of heaven and earth, King of the universe? Do you think he was treated like that when he came into the earth? No, he was treated like below, because they knew, the Pharisees knew who he was. They knew who he was. So they know exactly who you are, and that's why they treat you below, because they know that your anointing has the power to break yokes. And you have the power to break the powers of darkness. So continue marching on forward, continue going on. Will you be misunderstood in this journey? Yes, you probably will, but you will be able to rise back up again. And listen, don't change yourself for anybody. Continue being unique. I know a lot of us, and especially like I have felt this way, where my eccentricities, instead of being celebrated, and my quirkiness and my way of speaking, and my transparency and the way that I authentically speak without a filter, has been demonized before, or it's been criticized, or people outside there are probably put off by it, because nowadays we live in a fake world where people just lie all the time, and they're not themselves, and they don't speak honestly. When you see somebody speaking honestly, it can put you off, because we live in a fake world. And a truth speaker, someone who speaks with honesty, transparency, and vulnerability in a world that is so fabricated, can often be off-putting. But I want this to be a message to you guys, God's people. You don't have to change yourself for anybody. Continue being yourself. And this was the same message that I had this week. I've been feeling it in my spirit the entire week. Don't change yourself for anybody. Continue being yourself. It doesn't matter how much people want to criticize you or put you down or make you feel like you have to contain yourself or put yourself in a box or make yourself smaller or conform more, because that's what the world makes you feel. The world makes you feel like you have to conform. It makes you feel like you have to be less than who you are, that you have to fear the opinions of others. No, continue being yourself in all of your brilliance, in all of your quirkiness, in all of your eccentricities, in all of your weirdness, peculiarity. That peculiarness about you is what sets you apart from the rest. That is what God deposited inside of you. He made you unique. He made you different. He gave you a different sense of style. You dress differently. You walk differently. You talk differently. You are different. And that's God's intention. God's purpose was to make you different because he has a different purpose from you than the rest of the world. So continue walking in your light, continue shining your light, and just know that even if you are misunderstood, chosen one, guess what? God understands you and God made you that way. And he's going to use that differentness about you in order to shine your name into the world. So continue shining your light and let's get it. Have a good one, guys.